Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sin Gaming. After you spend dozens if not hundreds of hours working on landscapes, lighting and textures, it's time to get to the core of the gameplay experience, combat. Skyrim's combat is very stat-based, thus positioning, weapon selection, general approach to any engagement does not really matter, making the whole experience dull and very static. These mods are a personal selection of mine, and they drastically change the combat experience for the better by adding semi-modern combat mechanics that you will find in other RPG titles. We'll start off with one of the most popular mods released in the recent past, Combat Gameplay Overhaul. This mod practically revolutionized overall combat experience by removing engine limitations that were in place for character animations and the combat itself in general. With Combat Gameplay Overhaul, you will be able to perform dodge rolls, utilize mid-air combat, swap weapon grips for almost any weapon, strike with staves, wield two-handed weapons with spells, torches and other weapons, and will have a complete rework of animation blending. And this is just scratching the surface of it, as the mod fixes a lot of minor things as well. With the introduction of the dodge roll, gameplay changes drastically as both player and the NPCs will be able to utilize it to avoid incoming attacks. These dodge rolls have been introduced for both first and third person, working in all 8 directions. The mod allows for complete customization of its controls, so you can decide how you want to utilize your dodge rolls or whether you want to add iframes, stamina cost and so on. One of my favorite introductions by this mod is grip changing. With this you will be able to, with a single press of a hotkey, wield striking weapons with 1 or 2 hand grips. Direct gameplay change besides the visual comes in the form of having 1 hand grip strikes being precise, while the 2 hand grips will hit all enemies in 180 degrees arc in front of you. Skills switch along with the grip switch, affecting damage, perks and where XP is allocated. You can also grip swap mid attacks, allowing for some cool and custom combinations. Lastly, attack speed changes when grip swapping between stances, and this is adjustable via the mod configuration menu. The mod also allows for a mid-air combat, allowing for the player to utilize all attacks mid-air, and it works in both first person and the third person. This results in a possibility for some cool and flashy attacks. Another great thing about this mod is that it completely reworks the animation system, where the upper body of the character uses an in-place attack animation while the lower body uses movement animation, and the rotation is applied to the whole body. This means that the movement for all attacks that used to root the player in place can now be performed while moving. Kiting while dual attacking, bashing with the shield while moving, casting a spell while power attacking with the other hand, and many other features. The mod uses a relatively new Nemesis behavior engine and does require a basic knowledge of modding to get it to set up. However, luckily the mod author and the amazing community provides a step-by-step instruction how to install it for all mod managers available. Next, Ultimate Combat. This mod improves combats on multiple fronts. It adds a tons of new attacks to enemy AI, improving their attack pattern, aggressiveness and variation. Creatures such as Draugr, Skeleton, Falmer, Dragon Priests, Dwarven Centurions, Giants, and humans are all affected. The mod further extends the vanilla AI with light load scripts. For example, this means enemies will try to flee should they receive high amounts of damage. Surrounding allies of your enemy will try to run up and protect the ally by swarming the player. Mages will use healing magic to recover mid-battle, and will attempt to use ritual spells in some situation. The mod also improves or removes annoying parts of the combat experience of the vanilla game. It removes the infamous ninja dodge when shooting at the target with a long-range weapon, reduces the tracking speed of all NPCs, and removes the disarm shout from the Draugr. Additionally, it does force stagger rather than a ragdoll blowout for the Draugr shouts. All settings are toggleable in DMCM. The mod also introduces locational damage for bows and crossbows. Where you shoot now matters, and further debilitates your enemies depending on the location of the shot. Shoot your enemies in the head for extra damage, or shoot them in the legs to reduce their speed and attack damage. There is a satisfying sound and a mini shockwave indicating a locational hit, making the overall gameplay with the bow much more satisfying. I've also been asked a few times about a whitish swing effect on weapon attack. Yes, it comes from this mod as well. Additionally, the mod adds a timed block feature, where the game rewards you for blocking an incoming attack half a second after raising the shield. However, this feature is shared between this mod and others we're going to take a look at, so you want to make sure to keep only one active, while others disable via the mod configuration menus. There are many more improvements in this mod, and everything is configurable via the MCM menu, enabling you to customize the settings to your liking. Moving on to Wildcat Combat of Skyrim. This mod is a streamlined but a full-feature combat overhaul. It aims to make combat more dangerous and deadly by increasing lethality, adding injuries and stagger while additionally increasing the aggressiveness and responsiveness of the AI. This means that the enemies will be much more relentless and decisive instead of just waiting around for the player to make a move. All actors on the battlefield will now spend stamina when performing most actions. Stamina management with this mod plays a huge factor in coming out of the battle victorious. Remaining without stamina will put you into a fatigue state, slowing down your movement by 15%. Additionally, health management also comes into play as an important factor, as your magicka and stamina will regenerate 30% slower on low health. All participants in the battle can become wounded, receiving a random injury. These injuries can stagger the recipient and add the trauma effect until healed or treated. These injuries vary from arm and leg injury, where the trauma results in weapon disarm, or a head injury draining 50% of the magicka, and many more. Further deadliness of combat is increased via attack of opportunity setting. Actors can receive additional damage if they are performing a certain action. For example, if an enemy is performing a power attack, they take 50% increased damage for the duration, or taking increased damage while staggered, or while drawing back an arrow shot. This means that there is a high risk in committing to an attack, and positioning and poorly timed attacks can turn out to be deadly. Additionally, the lethality of combat is increased by large margin. Both you and your enemies receive more damage, making the combat much more realistic and deadly. All of the values are available in MCM menu and can be customized according to the player's liking. Lastly, keep in mind that this mod also adds a time block, so make sure to keep only one active if you want to use this mod with ultimate combat. Goes without saying that one of the best perk overhauls belongs in this list, and that is Ordinator Perks of Skyrim. I won't go too much into detail regarding this mod, as it literally adds 400 perks for you to choose from, opening a possibility for many builds that you can tackle combat with. I would spend full hour at least trying to cover all the possibilities from this mod, so let's just keep it short for this time. You want to become an unstoppable juggernaut by mastering heavy armor and blocking, laying waste to your enemies? Or become a master necromancer with skeleton army at your disposal? Or perhaps a master berserker wreaking havoc onto the battlefield? The choice is all yours, and opportunities for exciting and fun gameplay is endless. Now a brief mention for a very simple but a core mod for all of these previously mentioned to work even better: Mortal Enemies. This mod improves combat further by simply removing the annoying aimbot-like attacks from all creatures within the game and imposing limits to NPCs while they're attacking. This means performing an attack means dedicating to an attack. In essence, the fast turn rate from creatures is toned down or completely removed, meaning that dodging, spacing, and positioning matters even more. Additionally, vanilla creatures have huge attack cones that will strike you even if you're visually out of range. Mortal Enemies fixes all of these problems by tuning down the turn rate, tuning every single attack to match the animation more closely, and introduces attack commitment. With all of this, direct combat becomes much more satisfying, and spacing plays a huge role in becoming victorious. Additionally, if you, like myself, don't really enjoy throwing yourself around with CGO's dodge roll to avoid these attacks, you can always add TK Dodge mod to the list. The mod does the exact same thing, however allows for the selection of a step dodge in the MCM menu, a much more realistic and a satisfying dodge that looks better and feels better. As far as magic side of things, the two mods next to Ordinator that would further enrich casting can be achieved with Apocalypse and Triumvirate mods. Apocalypse mod adds 155 spells in total next to saves and scrolls, and these spells can be bought and looted off enemies just like you would vanilla ones. They offer high quality custom animations and seamlessly fit to Skyrim's universe by remaining lore friendly and balanced. This further improves combat versatility and increases build variety. I've also covered Triumvirate in depth in my previous video, as it deserved a single showcase on its own. The mod introduces 5 new mage archetypes that you can play as, and its impressive design and implementation makes it my favorite in the recent past. And lastly, to add cherry on the top of a cake and further improve the combat experience for the player, comes the mod Third Person Camera Overhaul. Skyrim's vanilla camera is stiff and lacks fluidity, but this mod corrects that by introducing a follow feature that is present in many modern RPGs. Players will be able to dynamically move from one side of the screen to the other with retrospect to the camera. It's much more aesthetic and simply improves the overall experience, giving a more action-packed feeling you'd find in games like Dark Souls. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a rating or perhaps hit that subscribe button and help out with the final push towards 500 subscribers. Clicking a notification bell is also a possibility if you want to get weekly updates on Skyrim mods. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.